right, it is time for the Fanduel Player Pool Builder. I'll be honest, I'm going really tight on pools this week, and I think I'm going to play a slightly less lineups. I think I'm not going to play a 50 burger on Fanduel this week. I think I'm probably going to be in like the 20, maybe 30 range, just because I'm super tight on the pool, and I don't think there's going to be a lot of differentiation in what I'm going to play. I'm lock buttoning quite a few guys on different sites, and I don't love the combination of a certain pairing, certain two pairings that I want to go with at wide receiver and running back. It's kind of similar to DK. I'm really tightening up pools this week, so it's going to be a either really right or really wrong situation this week, but feel pretty confident that I'm ahead of the game. Tomorrow, you'll kind of get to view where we're at on DK with the bigger stuff. Kind of got three guys that I'm pretty much locking in and then playing stuff around them, specifically in the high dollar stuff. And then FanDuel wise, I've got one guy that I know I'm pretty much locking for the most part. I might mix it up a hair here and there, but for the most part, I'm really only going with one game stack in this one, and then kind of playing around with some of the lower dollar guys and mixing and matching a little bit there. So breaking down the quarterback pool, it's kind of apropos that I have this game up because I was playing with game stacks in this one game. This is the game. We'll just start with this because I've already got it up. Game stack wise, I love this game. Baylor Cincinnati is the clear favorite in this one. I mean, you look at the rest of these games on this slate, kind of hard to get excited about almost anything else. I was tempted to play an Illinois-Washington game stack. I'm just kind of don't even feel like dealing with it. The pricing's too high on that USF Memphis game for me to want to game stack it. So we're going to start with this sucker. I think if you play the Sawyer Robertson, Brennan Sorsby combo over here, I like that. I think it's viable for you to say, hey, I'm going to play this game through without Sorsby, play it through Sawyer, and then a Cincinnati back and a Cincinnati wide receiver. But I'm not really interested in these Cincinnati backs. They just are weird to me. So if I'm playing this game through game stack wise, Hawkins is going to be in for me. Cincinnati struggles with outside wide receivers. Hawkins really hasn't left the field. Yes, he has struggled to an extent with finding the end zone because he has not found it yet. He has popped off for a 795, a 10-145. So games are in there. We just need to find the box, which he has struggled with repeatedly. So my favorite way to play it is either Hawkins and then comboing, because Sawyer's going to have to throw the ball a little bit more. He's not necessarily the runner that Sorsby is. So I want to double stack him. And then that gives me the optionality of I'm either double stacking him with Trig or Cameron, one or the other. I prefer Cameron. I think the upside's more there, but Trig is getting a ton of targets. So I'm going to do it both ways when I do this. And then my secondary piece is going to be either Caldwell or Goody, because Baylor has struggled mightily with outside wide receivers. We saw it with Jordan Dwyer last week. We've seen it with Romello Brinson. We've seen it with a number of teams. Let's see. They struggled with my guy, Cam Coleman, Jordan Tyson. Jace Brown is not really an outside wide receiver. He's more of a slot guy, but yeah, you get the picture. Baylor struggles with wide receivers. So number one way would be this. And then for obvious reasons, you can mix and match your running backs at that point. You can do it with Trig, Caldwell. You can throw Royer in there if you really need the salary from the Cincinnati side. All right. Just because we had that up, we went through it first. All right, quarterback-wise, core plays, it's going to be kind of sad at the fact that Byron Brown is the most expensive guy on the board, and he's the number one core play. Very good reason. He's running the heck out of the football. The offense revolves around him because the run game kind of stinks. They got a big team total. They're taking on Memphis. They're going to need to put the game on Byron Brown's back. They're scoring a ton of points. You cannot argue with the carry volume. The guy is operating basically as a wide receiver or a quarterback. I mean, a running back one. I hit every position before I hit running back. How did I not do that? He's a running back one at this point. I mean, you look at it, 22 points as a running back basically in this game. 20 points as a back in this one, and 17 as a back in this one. And that's with 14, 21, and 17 carries. That is basically RB1 territory from a carry standpoint and RB1 territory from a point standpoint on the ground. And that's before you factor in that the guy's been hyper efficient throwing the football with about 240-yard average in there with 3 touchdowns in each game. So I get an RB1 and a quarterback one. This is Johnny Manziel level production in the last 3 weeks of his peak. And at his peak, he was 13-5, almost 14 at times. So at 12-6, that's a crazy value. His top play on the board, it's not close. Memphis is a decent defense, but like I said, it's all going to have to flow through Byron Brown. So I'm on Byron Brown heavy. It's going to shock nobody. I want running quarterbacks. So Haynes King is going to be your number 2. Very similar reasonality, but he's a distant 2 behind Brown for the simple fact that his rushing is similar to Brown. It's just a passing option. I think they're 124th in the country. They're basically operating at a triple option level of passing volume. They're running the football at an insane rate. I think it's like a 36% pass rate, 64 run rate. So he's not getting the volume in the pass game. He just runs it so daggone much. Syracuse stinks. So I'm going to have heavily invested in him. He's going to be a guy that I'm going to mix and match plenty here. GPP-wise, I think there's one very good option from a rushing standpoint. John Mateer's cheap for good reason. He's been playing not very well. But at 9,500, I'm willing to take shots against Ole Miss. We kind of saw what Gunnar Stockton was able to do last week. He had a ton of touchdown equity, ran the ball in a couple times. Mateer's a better all-around player from a rushing standpoint. He has good weapons on the outside. I think he's going to turn it around at some point. He's been quoted as saying that his hand's getting better as weeks go on. I do expect him to be able to throw the football around here a little bit. 29-point team total tells me that he should be involved in 2 touchdowns in this one, at least. So I would expect 1 on the ground, at least 1 through the air. Something in the 20-point neighborhood would be perfectly acceptable from him, with the upside that he could get to the 30 points mark. This game feels like an under for me, under that 54.5. So I'm not going to take a ton of shots on Mateer. I'm just going to pick and choose a little bit here and there, thinking that he probably goes under-owned relative to where he should be. Y'all were expecting me to go down to Cutter Boley here. I still like the play, but I'm out on him and Underwood. I removed them from the pool minutes before this started. You want to take shots, go right ahead, because I think they're viable. But I don't think you need to get there given the relative values at other positions. Other guys in the pool, for obvious reasons, Taylon Green runs the heck out of the ball. He's facing Auburn. I like the Auburn guys in this matchup. So I'm perfectly happy playing Auburn wide receiver, Auburn running back, Taylon Green, and then Omega Blake. That would be a viable stack, which actually I'm going to put that in because I do want to game stack that. Yeah, I'm going to throw one of those in. I do like that play from the standpoint that Green's going to have to put the team on his back. He's going to get a ton of work. And I don't think Auburn is in great defense, but I think it's good enough that if I'm spending up to 12, I'd rather just go get to Byron Brown or Haynes King. But I think Green is capable of getting there, and that game has shootout potential because not necessarily because Auburn's going to push the pace, but because Arkansas is going to push the pace. I think Petrino is fighting to get that job back, and I would not be shocked if he does get it. Next in the pool, Sorsby. We mentioned that game. I think Sorsby's the better play on FanDuel compared to Robertson because of his rushing upside, because Baylor's defense is absolutely atrocious. They're playing at home. 36-point team total is impossible to ignore. So I'm in on Sorsby. He doesn't have the same rushing upside that those other three do, but his passing floor is good and his rushing touchdowns are there. He can outscore the others. It's just the floor is more difficult to get there. Now, speaking of floor, the last guy in the pool for me has all the floor. I just question the ceiling. Bear Bachmeier is going to get RB1 levels of carries against the team that I love in Iowa State, but Big Juice probably out again. So they lack the secondary because the guys are out for the year with Jeremiah Cooper now gone. And then they lack the interior line play because Big Orange is just absolutely dominant in that interior. So I think Bachmeier needs to be in play. He's not going to throw for 300 and multiple scores. He's probably going to be, need to be efficient with about 200 yards passing, and you're kind of hoping that he gets multiple touchdowns on the ground, multiple touchdowns through the air to get you there. But 20-plus point floor is very reasonable at 10-6. For a relative value score, you can get there with it. And he has 30-point upside if he finds the box a couple times on the ground, making him extremely viable in this situation. I think he's just such a floor play. He's just not the ceiling. I question. I do question the ceiling. But the floor is there. I'm going to have one core play at running back. And I don't know that I can get away from this play. I mentioned Auburn. It's kind of like DK. I can't get away from Jeremiah Cobb. Do I love the player? Not necessarily. Do I think the talent's there? Not really. I just can't get off of the fact that he's going to go for 100 yards in this game on the ground. They have massive questions at quarterback. I think they just turn around, hand the ball off to him, or run the quarterback for 100-plus yards. I think he finds the end zone at minimum one time. So you're looking at your worst case scenario to me is this South Alabama score at 17-9. But I think you easily can get not the hyper efficiency against Ball State, but let's say 22 touches for 120 yards and 2 touchdowns. I think 24 points is kind of what we're going to see. 111 yards against Missouri is no small feat. So something similar there from a touch count while finding the box multiple times. I think you're going to see a mid-20 score out of Cobb, 3x value here. I have a very difficult time getting off of Cobb in this situation. So he's kind of like a lock button situation for me. I don't know that I'm going to build a team without him in it. I don't see it. It's possible I do and pivot to another guy that's down here, but it's going to be tough. It's going to be very tough. Justice Haynes is going to be the guy to watch. Can he return this week? Will he return this week? It's going to matter a ton. Now, this being a late game is going to make it difficult because what's your swap options with a 6:30 start? I think you're going to need to have shots where you have him in, Jordan Marshall in, because Jordan Marshall would be a core play if Haynes is out. The touch volume is undeniable with 28 last week against Washington. If Haynes is out, Marshall needs to be a core play. The question is are we going to get word of it? I doubt we hear anything. So what you're going to need to do is play him some in case of emergency. and your swap is easy, you're going to go to Reuben Owens. Otherwise, you wouldn't love Reuben Owens in this situation. Uh, LSU decent defense, even with weeks out, but Owens is going to get so many touches that that's your swap option because the game starts at the same time. So I would play some Marshall with the idea that I can easily swap to Reuben Owens if I have to. Granted, Reuben Owens otherwise would not be in my pool, but in this situation, I need a swap. So I'm going to play some Marshall and put him in teams, knowing that I might have to swap to Reuben Owens and there's better plays necessarily around him. What's up, Jay Whitty? All right. GPP options for me. I'm going to be interested in DeRozier's. He has the massive ceiling. Great play on DK because of the pass receiving volume. Is with AJ Hill probably starting, or AJ Hill, probably starting. Took dollar. Ooh, there you go. There you go. I can't, man. NBA stresses me out. I'm better playing NBA than I give myself credit for. I just refuse to watch the NBA. I just can't. It's just not interesting to me. I'm just not a basketball guy. I was a Jordan guy growing up, and after that, I've kind of just you kind of pick and choose what you watch. Like I'll sit down. The NBA can be fun playing. I like the idea of the numbers game playing NBA DFS, and I'll probably play some throughout the year. It's just I do well with it. It's just one of those things I don't sweat it. Like I don't pay attention to it and sweat it. So I kind of just read data and it's all analytics and not it's no in zero way is it because I know, like NFL I can do an I know, or college I can do an I know ball play, we'll say an IKB. I don't know ball for NBA, so I just pick and choose what I want to play. Which, funnily enough, like I wouldn't mind being good at DFS golf. Like I want to be good at it, but I'm not. I'm good at NBA, but I don't like it. So I don't watch that, but I'll watch golf. But then I don't. I'm terrible at DFS golf. So who knows? Doesn't make any sense whatsoever. So yeah, DeRozier's great GPP play. I think people are probably going to avoid this top tier because they're going to want those upper end quarterbacks. Coleman has been on the downslide lately. I'm avoiding Coleman for me. I know that there's paths to get there, but I'm going to avoid there. I think DeRozier's comes in with relatively lower ownership. So it's a little bit different in that sense. Georgia Tech wise, man, the ultimate pivot on this slate, and I think it's the ultimate pivot on both sides, is to go to Haynes. I just feel like that game is coming. And is this it? I'm going to have a hard time not playing a little bit of Jamal Haynes. I think he's a fabulous pivot off of Jeremiah Cobb on DK. If he can I think he's a great play with Jeremiah Cobb on FanDuel from a GPP aspect. Nobody's going to play Jamal Haynes. Syracuse is absolutely abhorrent at anything on defense. We've mentioned how these guys run the ball at a 64% clip. Does Jamal Haynes get 15 carries, 15 touches, and can he break off one or two of them for 70-yard touchdowns or 50-plus yard touchdowns? I think it's very viable that Jamal Haynes wins a GPP this week. It's more likely than his percent owned is going to be. I still believe in the talent. I don't think he's any worse. What's up, David? Oh, David does not want to talk about that, Jay Whitty. I promise you. We had to talk about that the other day, me and David. And it was yeah, it was something. It went a direction. We're regrouping. So yeah, I think Jamal Haynes is either going to kill you or win you the tournament. That's just kind of where I'm at with him. I do like Jamal Haynes, though. It's gut feeling. That's gut feeling season. I would not go overboard. I just want to be slightly above the field on percent owned here, and I want to take some shots because I think it can buy me some differential here. Yeah, I don't know. I'm willing to take shots, but I don't want to leverage too much on that play. All right, rest of the pool, it's going to be all volume season here. Ahmad Hardy gets so much work. Do I think Vanderbilt's a good rush defense? Yes. Do I hate the fact that he does not catch any passes? Yes, but that makes him a FanDuel play. He's going to get all the work around the goal line. Even last week at that 19-4, I would take 58 yards and 2 tutties. I would say just look at the carry count, man. It's undeniable at 9,900 that you need to be interested at least in Ahmad Hardy in a competitive matchup. He's absolutely a good play for the volume at this spot. Now, I do prefer going LJ Martin to him because we mentioned the struggles that Iowa State has with the injuries on defense. He gets a ton of work, but he's managed to find the end zone. Bachmeier is an issue for him more so than Pribula is to Hardy, but I do like it 9,300. I think this is going to be a ground and pound game. Iowa State tends to play a muck it up game, rather tightly contested. On the road, I expect Martin to get 20 plus carries. I mean, the guy went for 122 in the Holy War last week. It's just a question of can he find the box? There's a lot of those guys, and you got to project out, can he find the end zone? I think Martin finds the end zone in this game. 100 yards and a touchdown gets you in that 16 to 18 range at 9,300. I don't hate it because I don't love a ton of plays this week. Like I said, Jordan Marshall is the optimal guy. If I know Jamal Haynes is out, I'm just going to default to Marshall and Cobb as my 1 and 2, and I would play dang near 100% Marshall Cobb. Next guy that I'm interested in, I'm going to keep in the pool. Everybody's going to be out on this. I know they've talked about getting Daniel Hill more carries. I just feel like Jam Miller, we're ignoring the fact that he went 136 and 85 the previous 2 weeks. We're ignoring how awful the running game was in this for this team before Miller came back. I think Miller gets a ton of volume here. So I want to take a shot or two on Jam Miller here. I want to call him Jim Miller against South Carolina, because Oklahoma was able to run the football against South Carolina, and Oklahoma doesn't run the football particularly well. So I don't mind taking a shot or two here on Jam Miller against South Carolina. I feel you, Jay Whitty. I feel you. We're getting there, buddy. We gotta build. I'm a slow burn guy. You know what I mean? I'm a slow burn. We gotta build. You gotta remember, I was doing a podcast on this 2 years ago, and then I built into it, and then now we're in year one. We're in year one of this. See, David's a smart guy. I like David. I like Jay Whitty, but I like David too. David's smart. He's kind of like, he knows his strengths and weaknesses. He's a smart man. All right. Last guy in the pool. I mentioned Oklahoma. Double-digit carries for the man. The box score looks absolutely atrocious. But I like the carry workload. I don't know that Ole Miss is a very good run defense. I don't like their defensive line. I think this is going to be a lower scoring, grinded out game. Now, if Javonte Barnes comes back, I do think that there is possibilities. Let me see if they have an update on Barnes, because that is meaningful in this spot. He's still questionable. Hasn't played since week 4. I don't know that it particularly matters with Barnes. So I would say I think Blaylock's interesting because he's going to get a large number of this workload. He's going to get a catch or two. I don't really care about that. I just think Oklahoma's going to run the football. I think Venables is going to be able to kind of hem up this Ole Miss offense, which is going to allow them to ground and pound with Blaylock. He's a good pivot off of Jeremiah Cobb or playing with Cobb. I'm going to play him a little bit. I don't love him, but he's going to need to be in the pool given the uh, way that I think that game shakes out. All right, y'all know I'm going to be very simple with. I pick like the same guys every week at wide receiver. It just works, you know what I mean? Um, see, you guys, I see. I brought in the smart guys around me. You guys just know, you know, you guys just know what to do here. That's what I love about this. See, these are smart. I appreciate the fact that I can attract some smart people in the chat. That's the important part, you know. It's easy to conversate with people who know what they're doing. So core play number one, it's no surprise, guys. It's like, come on, man. I love Elijah Surratt. Elijah Surratt's one of my favorite guys. Started at St. Francis, came to James Madison. I appreciate his time at my alma mater. And I love the fact that he plays at JMU North now. So 20 plus points, 4 straight weeks. He didn't get used in the blowouts. I mean, how do you not love playing Elijah Surratt? If I'm paying up for one guy at wide receiver above 88, a little over 8K, it's Elijah Surratt. So that's where I'm going. You know, I wanted to be a Jeremiah Coger guy in this spot, but be daggone if Jeremiah Coger can't. Yeah, he's too expensive. I wanted him in the 6Ks. I would have locked him in. So we'll see. We'll see on Elijah Surratt. I think Surratt's the clear top guy in this upper echelon for me. He's just floor ceiling combination is through the roof. I think they are going to try to get Mendoza into the Heisman conversation. So I really think that you're going to see Surratt and Cooper and EJ Williams really eating this spot against UCLA, who's just riding high, but it's all about to come crashing down this week. Next core play, you guys know I'm on this man every week. He continues to deliver. I agree with you. But the floor can't be argued with. And look, in fairness to in fairness to what you're saying, I haven't put him in a team that I built yet, but it's mainly because he's 10K. I agree with you. Because when you pay for that Byron Brown, Haynes King combination, or you're paying for Sorsby or those types of guys. Now, I haven't built cheaper quarterbacks yet. I've only built my Brown King teams. So I was just playing around with them, and I was getting Jordan Marshall in with Cobb. And then that way I was feeling pretty good with that. So here, we'll build it. I'll show you all exactly what in the world. I don't want to deposit. What are we doing here? I don't need a deposit. I haven't deposited in 15 years or whatever it is, 10, 13 years on this freaking website. I put $20 in 13 years ago. I haven't deposited since. It's the same thing in this situation. I'm not depositing. That's crazy. Did the same thing on DK. One deposit. Done. Yeah. So if we do this, that's where you end up with wide receiver, which perfectly happy with it. But you can't play Elijah Surratt in that situation. So that's why I haven't at this. You know what I mean? Oh, Jay Whitty, buddy, I was grinding dollar games on here for years. Just building and building and building dollar double ups and head to heads and whatever. And I still am very cautious with my bankroll. But yeah, that's kind of where I just lived. I've never been a chase the millionaire maker. I did for a little bit a long time ago around the boom when I was in high school. My bankroll management is it off the charts. I refuse to play more than 10%. I won't play more than 10%, and I try to keep. Now, what I will say, my bankroll management for college football is absolutely atrocious because I don't play cash because everybody plays the same lineup as me, and I refuse to play a one-on-one with everybody, 1v1. But like NFL wise, I play like single entry sub $10. All right, I'll get it. Yeah, so like all I'll play in NFL is single entry, and like I'll play the $5, $3, and $1 tournament single entry. And then yeah, my side hustle's selling sports cards, Jay Whitty. So I do this and DFS sports cards, and then I have an actual job. Um, which I moved into a different job over closer to me, so I had more time available for everything else because it was making me enough money. So bankroll management wise, then like NFL, I play 95% of my play is cash and then single entry tournaments, and that's it. So that's all I focus on is single entry uh NFL. I refuse to play MME NFL. I can't do it. Like I'll play 95% of my play in that is that. I hear you, Jay Whitty. I like the older stuff, so I end up buying a bunch of. I usually buy like two to like I'll buy two to tens and that are like really 20 to 30s. So yeah, I don't buy any boxes. I buy one box a year. I buy one box a year. It's Topps Chrome Baseball. That's it. That's the only one I'm willing to buy for nostalgia reasons. I refuse to buy any other box. Everything else is singles, and I sell and trade. I mean, college football, I buy, sell, and trade all the time. But that's kind of my wheelhouse, obviously. So yeah, that's kind of my wheelhouse there. So anyway, sorry, I digress. I got excited talking about that stuff. I love that stuff, guys. So core play number 2 is 1000% Josh Cameron. The environment in this game is insane. Cincinnati struggles to almightiness with the outside wide receivers. And Cameron is one of the better outside wide receivers that they're going to face all year. They got absolutely obliterated by Emmanuel Henderson. I expect Cameron to be in 100 yards and a touchdown range easily. So at 8,100, his volume's insane. I think he clears the 100 yards. I think he finds the end zone. I think we're seeing 20 points in this spot. He's one of my favorite on a points per dollar basis. He is probably my favorite play above 7K. So hey, Jay Whitty, the number one thing, I have guys at work actually that used to own a card shop, but they also do shows every week. And I will tell you right now that Pokemon, the number one thing people say about it is Charizard never tore an ACL. You know, that's the number one thing people say, which I don't disagree. I understand. I just don't know Pokemon. I didn't grow up in that era. I'm just slightly before it. My wife knows them. I don't know anything. All right, core play number 3 after Elijah Surratt and Josh Cameron. I think Cameron's my number 1 play. Core play number 3. I've liked this kid. I've been on him. I think Michigan beats the snot out of Michigan State. They don't like them. This kid's good, man. At 7K, I think he's got similar upside to Josh Cameron. The talent level's insane. I think he's the number 1 wide receiver for this team. You look at the last 3 weeks since he started becoming a part of the rotation, 4 for 80, 8 for 138, 5 for 49 in the touchdown. They drew that touchdown up for him. It was a middle screen for him, a little tunnel screen on the inside. He managed to follow the blockers. I think Marsh is a great play at 7K. He's a guy that I'm going to get to a lot. Now, that's why the Jordan Marshall thing comes in, because when I started building this team, the first thing I did was put Marsh and this next guy in, and I did not know how I felt about having 2 Michigan guys and 2 Auburn guys, because you guys know I can't help myself. This is why I need to limit my play on FanDuel. I play him every week. It hurts me every week. I love Cam Coleman. The talent does not match the production. The fact of the matter is we're paying for, and I would hate to compare this to this fullest extent, a Jeremiah Smith level of player at 6,200. It's just the fact is he's got Uncle Rico playing quarterback, and he's got popcorn on his hands. He's got that popcorn butter. Like I can't. It bothers me so much. Just feed the ball to the man. Like just throw it to him, please. 9 targets last week against Missouri, 6 catches, 108. He's so good. Like at 6,200, the 100 yards and multiple touchdown game is coming, and I'm just going to keep paying for it until I get it. Like I'm going to die on this hill because I refuse to miss out on the fact that he's going to score 20 plus in a game very quick, very soon, very soon. But I can get 3x value with him scoring once. Like I have a very hard time not paying this price a lot. So he's legitimately the second best points per dollar play in projections for me behind Elijah Surratt. Surratt projects out way out in front of everybody else on a raw points projection. I think he's 4 points clear of the next closest guy. But Coleman projects right in the pack, and his price is so good that it's hard to ignore him. So that's my struggle. Is 2 of my favorite points per dollar plays at wide receiver are match my favorite plays at running back, and I don't like a lot of running back plays. I feel like I'm killing myself by putting 2 Auburn players in, but they are facing Arkansas. So that's what I got to consider. I am struggling with that one. Do I want to play 2 Auburn guys on a team that's basically drawing dead at this point? I don't know. That scares me. But I'm in. I can't help myself. All right, GPP options. I don't think I'm going to end up here, but I think he's a great play given the awfulness that is this Illinois secondary. Denzel Boston comboed with DeMond Williams feels like a relative value to me and feels like something nobody's going to be on, and I kind of want to get here. I might play one of these. I just don't know that I will. He's got a big upside. He's just not the player that I think he is. Like my mindset, I like that too, David. I really do. Yeah, I like that too. I think Boston's a good player. I just don't think the production's been there. I really want to play a DeMond Williams, Denzel Boston stack. I think at 10-7, he's in play. He can run enough. I do kind of want to do that. I might do one of those. And we'll see. I'm interested. We'll say I'm interested. All right. Next GPP option, and I think I'm overexposing myself. He's in this lineup that I built. I kind of want to play Daryl Gill. He's been terrible. Let's be real. But last week, he started that game with 4 for 34 and a touchdown, and it was early in that game. Ricky Collins flat out sucks. I'll be full transparency. Ricky Collins sucks. But I'm not denying 10 targets. So yes, he had the big game against Colgate. Yes, his target volume was good, and he did not play very well overall. It should be there. I'm interested in Gill at 5,700. Perfectly fine if you want to mix and match some different guys around him. But I think Gill is a good value in this spot to be able to do some stuff against Georgia Tech. And I think he plays well with Haynes King. I don't know that there's a ton of difference. Justice Ross Simmons is now probable. With him being healthy, I think it takes a little bit away from Gill, but for the price tag, it's kind of hard to argue with. And I would rather pay 5,700 for him than pay 72 for Jonte Cook. I don't mind Jonte Cook. If I was at 7,200, sure, I'll pay for that for Jonte Cook. I like Marsh a little bit more. The volume's good. I like Roberts and Kingston. They're both in the pool for obvious reasons. I prefer Kingston because he's been better. but that doesn't mean that I don't like Roberts, if that makes sense. I think Roberts has the better matchup on the outside, but Kingston gets such equity in these weird plays situation. I mentioned it. He's playing the Puka Nakua role for BYU. People forget. So Puka was an automatic play at BYU for expensive price. They act like he came out of nowhere. He was a great player at BYU. He just got hurt every year. Now he's gone to the NFL and he does something similar where he gets hurt every year. But to be expected. Great player, though. Parker Kingston's playing the Puka Nakua role where he gets the carries and catches and he throws the ball a little bit. So I like Parker Kingston over Chase Roberts. Personally, the projection, very similar. I just prefer Kingston, but I would not fault you for going 50-50 in this spot. Other guys in the pool, normally I'd be on the Bama guys, but I'm out. I'm finally out. I just can't do it. I think Omega Blake is a very good play because he has a 30% target share for this offense. I think they're going to struggle to run the football against Auburn. If that kills me, it kills me. I'm maybe I play some Mike Washington on DK because of the catch volume he gets, but I'm probably more interested in Omega Blake here. The floor is very good. The ceiling is there. We just kind of haven't seen a monster game out of him, which is what concerns me to an extent. It kind of holds him back from being a higher end play. I would rather just pay down for Josh Cameron or Michael Trigg in this spot. Hank Beatty, he'd be your bring back in your Washington game stack. If you want to play Boston and DeMond Williams, I would play Beatty with them. Beatty gets good volume, has the upside, safe-ish floor, but I would get there, but I probably prefer him in those game stacks with Washington, Illinois pieces around him. Trades Green is an absolute touchdown machine. I think this game ends up being tight and low scoring. He's kind of the spam button for Nussmeier at the moment. So at 7,700, I have interest. If I'm at like 78, 79 range and I can't get to the Baylor guys and I like the rest of my team, I'll just come down to Trades Green. He's kind of like I'll fit it. If I have a piece that I want to fit in, I'll just shove that in there. I have no problem with that. Yeah. So I'll tell you, I have something similar. So I have something similar, David. We'll play that game stack. I played around with it a little bit earlier. I'll show you what I had. I have oh, you got Haynes Cobb. That's interesting. Okay. So what I did, David, is I have Sorsby Cobb Marshall. I have Sorsby Cobb Marshall with Sawyer, Cameron, Hawkins, and Caleb Goody. And then I also have one with Trigg and Caldwell over Cameron and Goody. I like the outside wide receivers. So I'm not playing Cyrus Allen. I know why people will, but I'm personally not in that spot. Yeah, I like Hawkins on the outside as a sneaky low priced guy to play because I want to double stack. But I understand why you would play Cameron and Trigg. So I'm gonna steal that team. Just FYI, because I actually do like I want to double stack, but I went Hawkins trying to play off of that a little bit differently. And I like Caldwell and Goody. It's just a matter of which one I can fit. So we'll workshop that in a second. I do like that idea though. So we'll talk about it when I get there. Sorry, I'm just excited. So talking about Trig, let's look at Trig because I wasn't necessarily going to highlight him. He had 12 targets last week. So I don't think we can take away as that being a relative negative. Having only 3 catches for 56 yards. The fact is that 12 targets is insane. So if he can get like a 10 target volume in this spot, I think you're looking at a 5 for 71 and one line at worst. So you're looking at like a 15 to 19 point range. I'm probably have somewhat of a blind spot for Trig because he's so close to Cameron. And to your point, I should probably play them together. The targets are there. I'm such a Cameron guy. I've just seen it too much. But I agree with you that Cameron and Trig both viable. I'm going to mix and match those two and or put them together. So you're probably right. I probably need to play 3 teams: one with Trig Cameron, one with Cameron, and one with Trig, and then I'm mixing Hawkins in the other 2. We talked about this little trio here. I like being in this range as well. I don't mind Parker Kingston, Chase Roberts, or Jonte Cook. I prefer Kingston and Cook, in my opinion. That's just kind of where I'm at. And then let's see. In this team, where did I have? I had single. Yeah, I'll show you all what I did on this team. This is a little bit fun. So I went with Kayshawn Singleton here. I know he's going to be on the field. I don't love him as a play, but I have interest as far as him being on the field. He's kind of mixing and matching at this point, and then that gets you Ashton Hawkins. So I don't hate that because I talked about Hawkins in that. So he's got target volume too. He hasn't found the end zone. There's a common theme in a lot of players I don't mind this week. Guys that haven't found the end zone. Target volume's been there. He's on the field enough at like 70 to 80% of snaps, and he plays on the outside. Cincinnati struggles with outside wide receivers, so I'm going to like Hawkins a good bit here. I think there's 2 ways to play through it. You can go that way. There's also let me go all in on Michigan side of this, where you just go Andrew Marsh here, and then you got optionality down here. I don't hate. So there's a couple ways to play it, but that's kind of the way I'm leaning right now, is the Marsh side personally, because that's who I like. And then the last couple guys that I'm going to keep in the pool, I prefer Goody to Caldwell solely because Goody's on the field for 80% of the snaps on the outside. Baylor struggles with outside wide receivers too. So Goody's on the field. He doesn't come off. It's Caldwell's the one that comes off the field. So that's what I would say worries me a bit more. Now, Caldwell gets as many deep shots, and it depends on target volume. I think you need to mix and match Caldwell and Goody because they both get the same target volume. But Goody's got more shots because he's on the field, whereas Caldwell's been coming off a little bit more. I prefer Goody personally. It's just kind of where I'm at there. Lastly, I think Dion Burks is interesting. So if we're buying the situation, yeah, they both have 14 first read looks. Exactly. I think they're both interesting. I'm going to lean Goody based on playing time. You got to be on the field in order to catch touchdowns, but I'm going to mix and match them. It's not a I'm going to side with one over the other 100% of the time. I'm going to go 55-45 Goody. It's not a one or the other situation, certainly. That's the beauty of being able to play multiple teams. I'm going to get exposure to both just because I think Burks, he doesn't play in the slot. Mateer's not been great. Right. The routes run are very heavily skewed to Goody for sure. Satania is the clear better option, but he's so much more expensive. I don't mind shots on Burks if I'm going to play the Mateer team. That is an option. In this specific team, I'm going to lean Joe Royer. I think Royer is a very safe option. He's just been consistently good enough. I don't need him to be a superstar here. I have Burks. I had Burks listed originally. I just think Royer in that game environment is a good play here. He can definitely find the end zone. He's kind of the safety blanket uh, for my man Brendan Sorsby. And there's plenty of like you can punt on this slate too. Where is he? I was gonna like Lotzier Brooks a good bit, but now he's doubtful. That kind of hurt. Kanik, I think, is minimally interesting if you want an Oklahoma punt option. He was really good early in the season, really downturned when uh, John Mateer went out. So I think Kanik at 5,200 has legs, certainly. There are punts. I just don't love them personally. Giovanni Gibson, also another Oklahoma punt. He came back, got a very good target share. No yards, but good target share in that one. So it's just kind of playing around with it. Rico Flores would be your best punt option for UCLA. I don't think you need to use them. So that's kind of where we're at from the pool side. This is a team that I do like. I think there is legs in that. We were talking about let's build that out. Cameron Trigg. If you got Jamal Haynes in here, I'm going to laugh and I'm going to enjoy every second of it. I can tell you that. I got a problem with that. The fact that Jamal Haynes is priced below Malachi Hausley is insane to me. Haynes King, or not Haynes King, Brendan Sorsby, Sawyer Robertson. It's hard not to like this. And then you can go, let's just say Caldwell. Yeah, you got Caldwell in. You got Jamal Haynes in. I love this. So there's a couple ways you could play that. Oh, that's fun. You could definitely play Tyree Walker, but I can't do it. That's fun. I'm gonna have to play this or something like this. I'm gonna make this. I tell you what. Here, David. Here's what we're gonna do. Okay, you're on Caldwell. I'll take Goody, and then one of us is gonna be right. How about that? Huh? Let's do that. All right. I'll take Goody. You take Caldwell. We'll play it that way. I think that's more fun for us. Inner show competition between the two of us. I'll take Goody. You take Caldwell. I like that. That's fun. We'll both play this. All right. I'm gonna mark that one as a special lineup for this. We'll watch. I mean, like I said, I'm on both guys. I just think it's more fun. I'll play the one without him. That way, if you win solo, and if I win, I win. Oh, why you got it? David likes to go in the big boy stuff. I'm like, oh, I'll throw it in like the 15 or a smaller end one. David's like, I'm gonna throw it in the 55. I appreciate it. I appreciate your belief in me. Your belief in me is higher than my belief in me, bud. Because I'm running bankroll management to a T. I used to grind like quarter contests, man. I'd grind like the 50-cent, 25-cent stuff. And then I gradually got to the dollar, and then I went to the $5. And going to the $5 was like stressful. And then it was like, all right, now I'm going to the 10s. Now I'm at the 20s, and I'm like, I'm not going to the 55. I agree with you, David. I'm getting the pool right. 100%. The pool's right. It's just I got to put the puzzle pieces together. We started the year really, really hot. It's just those secondary pieces have been really killing me. Yeah, this is going to be a week. I'm getting tighter and tighter on the pools. Like I said, Jeremiah Cobb, and I'm going to be overexposed to. If Jeremiah Cobb gets hurt this week, I'm knocking on wood. If Jeremiah Cobb gets hurt this week, pray for me. We're going to start drinking real early. I can tell you that right now. Yeah. I don't disagree with you. I don't disagree. This is a very heavily correlated slate for DK and FanDuel. Um, drink responsibly. I'm not usually. I'm a one or two usually guy, but my wife, my wife can get it. She gets after it. She's from Louisiana. She's got better genes for me than I do with that. So, anyway, I think this is a very interesting slate. Like I said, I'm going to be heavily exposed to Jeremiah Cobb. I want to pick on Arkansas. I'm going to be heavily exposed to running quarterbacks. I want to um, get after the rushing upside QBs. I hear you, David. David wants to go get some of that ibogaine. I understand. You know, that's interesting stuff. I'm not going to get into that conversation, but it's interesting. Like Mendoza, I understand the upside. I'm leaning into the upside of rushing. Oh, I'm not. I haven't been into any of that stuff. It's just seen research. I listened to too much stuff. But the floor here of Bachmeier. I think if you're paying down, you need to pay down for Bachmeier. I'm out on the Ty Simpson train. I will say, if you didn't watch Underrated Game of the Week, AJ Hill, look, this kid didn't play great last week. This kid has a very bright future. He's the highest rated recruit ever to sign with Memphis. He got that FedEx bag. He's going to be really good. I promise you, if this kid plays, you need to have a side TV on AJ Hill. He's going to be fun. He's going to be a hell of a good player eventually. He's just not there yet. So yeah. All right, guys. Why is the fantasy points wrong on that kid? Let me see. On AJ Hill. No, that's right. Yeah. So you're saying that should be 11, not 10. He threw an interception. He had one touchdown, one interception. So that's 4 and 7 is 11. Good morning, JB. No. It's 4 and 7. He had an interception. He was 13 to 25, 175, 1 and 1. I'm hoping he gets the start. I hope he does. I do want to watch that. All good. Yeah, you play too much fantasy when you can count the points that they scored in the box score. Thoughts on tonight's DK slate? All right, I'll pull that up. Hopefully y'all don't mind. I actually do have a team already built for that. Yeah, I already built my team. I gotta go to edit entries. Edit. I actually built my team earlier. Share this tab. All right, so I'll tell you right now, here's my team. Locks to the slate for me are Mestamaker, De Jesus, Dorner, and then probably Riley. And then your decision point is, do you want to play Hawkins? Really, decision points are Riley versus Raphael. Because what you can do is do Riley, Raphael. I was hoping you could go up to Gaines, but you can't. But yeah, and then I think other decision is Sagapatele against Kyron Drones. Being that it's on the road and Drones gets so many traffic. I was going to say, if they keep doing that crap where I click on it and doesn't do anything, Drones is getting so many carries that I think you can't ignore him. His pass volume is atrocious. He sucks throwing the football. He's an absolute dumpster fire. But playing at home in Blacksburg with Berkeley coming across the country, I'm going to lean on Drones and Hawkins to run the football. I think Stewart is going to be active. Yeah, he's off the injury report. He was limited last week. I think he's going to be in a timeshare with Hawkins. I'd expect 10 to 15 touches. This game's going to have a heavy ground and pound. So I would expect Stewart's a very good player. If I had room, I would have played him. And then Bates is now taking over the spot for Ben Ford. So Ben Ford now out for the season, 4,100. Cameron Bates is now going to take over that spot. So I like his upside at 3,200. You just got to pick the team you want to stack. I think you ignore Charlotte, you ignore Nevada, and you're basically playing these 4 teams. So figure out what of those 4 teams you want to play. I'm a Miles Coleman fan. I wish he was playing, but he's banged up. I'm not certain that he's going to play, so I'm going to play Dorner. Dorner's been getting a good target volume, 5 catches each of the last 2 games. So I'm willing to play Dorner on the outside in that spot. North Texas used to be a heavy pass volume team. Now they've turned into a run funnel, basically, and they're just running the heck out of the football. It is viable to go McGill or Sibley as the backup running backs because they're going to absolutely toast Charlotte. You could very well bet North Texas team total over. It's going to be a nice day in Charlotte this week, tonight, so it's going to feel pretty good. So I don't have any issues going with any of the Charlotte backs, the top 3 between Hawkins, McGill, or Sibley. I think any of the 3 could pop for extra yardage. You could stack them in the lineup. Mestamaker is the one quarterback that you have to lock. I wouldn't play. I would rank the next behind him. I would rank them Drones, Sagapatele, and Madsen after. So I would play one of the quarterbacks in this game, either Drones or Sagapatele. And then I'm leaning De Jesus because his target volume's just been insane. His floor is insane. I think everybody's going to go De Jesus. So if you really want to get different, I would come off of him. Specifically, if we got word that Coleman's in, I think you could go to Coleman over De Jesus. Tron Grizel, I think, is a viable option as well. He did not catch a pass last week. So it's actually not really showing up in his box score right there. But I'm going to end up playing Bates. I think you could easily do, let's just say you were like, hey, I want to go different here. Let's say we're going to go, we want wide receiver. Let's say we want Terry and Stewart. Instead of De Jesus, let's say Coleman's in. So this is where I would go. I would do something like this if I was going a different direction and Coleman was in. So like, let's just say we were playing 2 lineups. I would play, the first one would be the De Jesus lineup with Hawkins and 4,400 Cameron Dorner. I get the Wyatt Young play. Very much so get it if you wanted to go there. Let me pull what I was seeing on. Let me pull that stat I was getting on Wyatt Young. Hang on. So he's been the last. So he plays in the slot. Wyatt Young does. If that's what I was trying to figure out. I was trying to remember where he plays, so I had to look up that. If Coleman comes back, that is going to take away from Young to an extent because they both play out of the slot. So I don't mind Young, but I prefer because this is single entry, so I would play De Jesus over Young, because his target volume is insane. But I do think Grizel is a fun way to get off of that. Yeah, that's the way I kind of would play that. I would play it that way. I also don't mind going Gaines and Riley for Boise and getting the double in there. It's just hard to get. You kind of would have to go Gaines, Riley, Hawkins, or you come off of Hawkins and go to Raphael there, and then you can pay up for all the wide receivers, yada, 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 yada. But like this would be another way to play that. Would be Gaines, Riley, Coleman, Grizel, Bates, whatever. And then even then, you could say I want to. Well, I would play Grizel with Sagapatelli. I was going to say you could take Dorner at that point, but I wouldn't do that necessarily. Granted, that would get you basically everybody. That's a fun way to play that, actually. If you do that, then you get all Boise, North Texas, which is just blowout central. That's a fun way to play that too. I don't hate that. I don't hate that. If I like, that's what I'm saying. If you're multi-entering, this is kind of the way I would do it. But I would use my baseline here. I don't hate doing that as well. If you want to go drones, and then that's going to give you the optionality to, let's just say you're to come off of this, and let's come off of that. I don't think you need to go gains at that point, but let's just say you did. Let's say you go with the backup North Texas running back here. Let's go with McGill. And then you've got, I don't love Chris Marshall, so I don't particularly want to go there. I don't love Caples either, but let's just say you go Landon Sides. I don't know. But yeah, you can go there. You can go, I think you could make this work eventually. If you wanted to. Actually, you can make that work. Nope, I can't get Sibley. I need Sibley here in order to make that work. So, you know what? You know how you make that work? You go off of Raphael, you go gains, boom, and then you can make that work too. So yeah, I would say that that's kind of like the whole bunch of variations that you could do it. I would say you could easily go into something. I probably should go into something cheap and do that, but I'm playing that base. This is going to be my base lineup personally in single entry because I think Hawkins gets volume. I think Riley has the most upside of the Boise backs. Bates is the best value on the slate. Dorner is the starter on the outside. Runs a ton of routes. Let me double check that. Yeah, he's caught 5 passes each of the last 2 games. He's preferred option of the outside wide receivers. Landon Sides at 5,400 played 60% of the snaps. He just didn't even get a target last week. And then Mestamaker is the one guy you have to lock into the lineup. And then Charlotte is 133rd nationally in rush defense rate. And they're one of the worst run defenses in the country. So pairing Mestamaker with Hawkins, I really think North Texas goes over that 43.5 projected team total. So, all right. Good luck tonight. Y'all will see me build my DK stuff tomorrow on stream. And I already got my quarterback pairing set up. It's all the rushing quarterbacks, let's be real. And then I've already kind of got my single entry stuff. And it's going to be a stack of Cincinnati Baylor in my single entry high dollar. But yeah, so I'm gonna work on putting together my FanDuel stuff so I can have that done. And that way I am just locked on injury reports tomorrow morning, and we will talk about how everything shapes up. So good luck tonight, guys. Jay Whitty's going to go win about 10 grand tonight on NBA. And I'm going to keep forgetting to use my tickets that I have for NBA that they gave me. So that's kind of where we're at. All right. Thank you, guys. I'll see y'all tomorrow.